Oh,
Eventually, perfect timing.
Incredible timing.
Eventually, look,
Javon.
Eventually everyone will clock. Everyone has to clock.
Yeah.
I mean, I was hearing that Spurs are apparently going to be doing some sort of a protest or whatnot. Like, even they eventually have clocked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually people will clock that you can't carry on with this type of nonsense. You can't.
No.
So down the track, there'll be a aggressive level of protest down the track. I don't know whether it's going to happen anytime soon, but
I mean, bro, that last Brighton game, we heard like the Roman Abramovich chant starting up again, and there's more frustration now, and there's more people that are beginning to like clock out. But those away fans, I say away fans because they're the hardcore. They're the ones that go across everywhere. They're proper Chelsea, right?
They go to Kazakhstan.
Exactly, yeah, bro, exactly.
they
You know
do
what
go
that's
to
like.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, man.
So you're aware of the sort of people that are there, right? The bit by bit, as people look at the overall bigger picture and not just the intricacies, is where frustration is building. It's building, man. It's building quick.
Big up, everybody. If you're just joining us, All You Can Eat Chelsea, episode number 200 and something. We are past 202, I believe. We're past the 200 mark now, so now we're just going into uncharted territory. Welcome back. We were discussing prior to recording, and I said, you know what, let me just hit record because the conversation is pretty much on point, you know, so why not? But big up everybody on the panel. Javon is back with us. Younes, Miz, as always, as well. And it's interesting. Where do we start? Because we've got injury news, which I haven't addressed yet. I know you guys have. I wasn't even that shocked to see Jackson out for the foreseeable until April. Obviously, I'm actually thinking partly that we're almost lucky, but it's not Palmer and Caicedo along with him, which I wouldn't be surprised further down the track if that was to happen, knowing our luck and the way we've planned things. But how does that leave you guys now? How does that have you sit for the rest of the season with there being no actual striker? Because obviously there's wider issues. We'll get into that later on. But just on the pitch, we still need those 3 points against Brighton on Friday. We saw what Nkunku delivers and coughs up when he's up front, and the manager doesn't seem to want to twist that with a Palmer false nine, or doesn't seem to want to put anyone else up there. I feel like we're playing with 10 men when he's up front. So I don't really know what the solution can be unless Denzel Washington is about to appear back from Brazil, and we've never seen him kick a ball in the first team.
Shooting equalizer full.
Miz, brother, I'll start with you. Does that change your the expectation and objective is the same. You must be in the Champions League next season. I don't care if lightning strikes down on Stamford Bridge. But where does that leave you?
That leaves me in the bin. That's where it leaves me. Look, with Nicholas Jackson, it was tough. And he was developing and whatnot. And we've said it many times. All of us have said that there's a certain skill set that we like about Nicholas Jackson, but he lacks in certain departments, which we don't need to delve too deep into because we all know. Even with him, we were struggling and in struggle town. Now you're telling me you're stripping me away from this player who's an important component of Enzo Maresca and our supposed backup, which is crazy. This is the kind of planning. And apparently Matt Law is now trying to sell to us that it's nothing to do with planning. It's all luck. Mark Gu was meant to be the backup and even he's gone. You're telling me now I'm meant to feel like I'm at a better place? No chance. Absolutely no chance. And the alternatives are Nkunku, and some people are already trying to lap that up, like as if we haven't seen Nkunku up front this season as a demonstration. Like as if we haven't seen. We're going to now pretend, I haven't seen it. Can I see it again, please? I forgot. Can I please watch it again? I don't remember it. So, look, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how Enzo Maresca is going to find a solution, but you best believe, even if David Washington was available, and even if some kid from the academy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Mehuka or whatever his name is, even if they were available, do you really think he was going to use these kids? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's going to have to be a makeshift of either Cole Palmer or Nkunku. And you can imagine if Cole Palmer is playing further up, that means he's less involved in the build-up, less involved in playmaking. He's trying to be in the box. I'm not saying that he's just fixated there. He'll move around, but he ain't going to come all the way down to the defenders to hold handshake with them. And then we're going to wonder why those crosses from Pedro Neto is delivering to no one. So the math ain't mathing, Matisse. The math is not mathing. That's where I'm at.
We all said, Younes, in the summer that we needed a striker. We all said we needed a striker in the summer, and we said in January we needed a striker for this very reason. We didn't actually have enough cover or depth in this position prior to the injuries. People are trying to make out, some people who will make an excuse for anything, very small pockets of people are trying to make it out that, you know, how could we foresee this incredible scenario where we have no strikers because we already had two, and you don't need more than two. You do when one of them is Gu, who's a teenager. You know, if one of them is Drogba and Remy and Costa, that was actually three in that time period. And Nelka and Drogba, you know, even Eto'o, Torres and Demba Ba. So we've actually had three
Solomon
seniors.
Kalou, you're missing out his
Solomon Kalou, yeah. So this narrative that you know you can only have two strikers is a complete facade, especially when you have European football. But if you are going to only have two, do not make one of those two be Gu. Do you know what I mean? Don't disrespect and insult our intelligence. You don't go into a season with one of those strikers being a kid that isn't depended on. I guess it's Younes. It's I told you so to the directors that can do no wrong.
Mate, can I start off with something as well? I know if you lot got these comments, and I definitely have. I want to clarify it and hope it reaches out for the people that are like, let's use Datro Fofana. Yeah, we recalled him because he needs to recover for the rest of the season. Yeah?
Yeah, say
He's
this,
injured.
please.
The man is broken until the end of the season. So that's a no-no. He can't play.
I've had that comment so many times, and they're still going to ask it, some of them.
I'm shocked. I'm like, did you not get the memo, bro? The amount of volume of comments that I'm getting of Fofana, we called him. He's injured. It's funny. There's no PR to let us know that Fofana's injured. Look, the fact that we, in the first place, this is why I don't want to paint the picture like Jackson is the savior here, because even when he was playing, he wasn't, right? Is there bits that he's helping with at the bare minimum? Yes, which even that now we're stripped of, right? But realistically, we should not have been going in to a campaign with Nico Jackson as the number one striker in the first place and Marc Gu as the backup. That just should not have happened anyway. If anything, you want those two to be one step down in the pecking order and to actually have a top number one striker there. Therefore, I mean, chances are Nico Jackson probably wouldn't have got injured that way, and probably Marc Gu wouldn't have got injured that way in the first place. So, but if one does, or even if both does, or you've got an option there at least, you know, chances are, if this was flipped and a number one striker that we got injured and Nico Jackson gets injured again, well, at that point, you'd think you'd have a Marc Gu there. But at least if that's the case, and in the miracle that it would be, if three strikers are all injured at the same time, at that point, you can't say, all right, we didn't plan. Right? But with the way that we have conducted ourselves as a club, right, and left ourselves in this situation, especially coming out of the January transfer window where everyone knew. And this, as you've said correctly, Matisse, this isn't just dating back to this January, because the business should have been done in the summer, right? If we were serious, a striker like Osimhen would be at Chelsea right now, right? Or if we were serious, we'd be triggering release clauses for like Gyökeres, or something would have been done to get someone of a decent level in, not only to support, but to actually take the reins.
Just to add on to that, Younes, do you know what's so funny? When I see the Chris Woods and the Matetas of the world, right, doing decent numbers, under Roman Abramovich, we signed big names: Morata, Lukaku, Torres, Drogba, Shevchenko. But we also signed Loic Remis and Demba Bars and Giroud. They haven't even signed that. Like, Guirassy was available for 17.5 million release clause last January. I said it so many times.
Yeah, me too.
If you can't do the big, I have moved and budged and collaborated and been cooperative. Like, if you can't give me the big name because of the wages or the big transfer fees, and you've pissed away all the money, here's a 17.5 million, low risk, high reward, a little bit experienced person that maybe is just priming, just peaking in his age, and has got goals. And let's just give Jackson that at least.
Yeah,
it's like
how old's Guirassy?
I think he's like 27 now. 20, gonna
Sorry,
be
he
28.
doesn't fit the model,
Bro.
This is
something.
This is the
that
issue.
mold.
You're talking on a football level, and I agree. I wanted Guirassy. It was true. Low risk, low fee, a very good stopgap to have at least. Right? You need these sort of profiles in your squad.
4 years
to build up the squad, right?
Whilst Jackson develops or something.
Well, no, we don't do that because there's no ROI on Guirassy. You don't get a profit off Guirassy, so no, not interested.
But the money that you get if Guirassy gets you into the Champions
League. You're
League.
talking football here. That determines having to get a certain level of success, like an achievement. You need to unlock an achievement here. No. The aim is to make sure that there's money made irrespective of achievement. And if there is an achievement, it's a bonus and it's nice.
Wow. Do you subscribe to that, Javon? Do you hit subscribe button to this?
You've got the notification bell.
It's been a few weeks. How do you feel, brother? How are you about all of this?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing well. There seems to be a delay sometimes when I speak, so take a short pause before.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry.
Hey, I do not subscribe to any of this, and I'm with the rest of the boys when I said it's time to sell up and sell out, kind of sweep the ownership out of the club. But to answer your point, to answer your question, I do not subscribe to this at all. And the fact that we're at this stage, some can say it's a bit of bad luck that both strikers got injured in one game. But then at some point, you got to say, you didn't give us the tools to go into the season with a proper striker. Basically everything that Younes says. I'm more at the point at this stage where Maresca, you just got to figure it out. You have to figure it out. And at this point, I think circumstances call for a system change. If that makes sense, you are forced now to make changes to the system, whether it's go back to overlapping fullbacks so you can accommodate a false nine. Play a false nine and have the people that's running off the false nine running into those channels being left from when that whoever's up front drops deep. I think we lost Miss there for a minute. Yeah.
That's all right. He'll be back.
So that's where I'm thinking. It's no kind of on the manager, which is not fortunate because he didn't ask for this. But no, he has to figure it out. You know. And yeah, what else can I say? You figure it out. I think you should do a system change. I genuinely think that could get us over the line until at least Jackson comes back. But then again, when Jackson was here, he wasn't pulling up trees either. So even then, some people were calling for a system change to provide him more help up there, so he's not up there by himself. You know, to kind of supplement the chances he's missed, to kind of supplement some of his poor play. Because one of the things we will miss over the course of Jackson being out is his link-up play. But then even that was starting to fade in his poor run of form. Let's not act like he was doing, let's not act like he was doing everything else except the finishing. That was starting to fade as well. So at this point, as Miss says, we're in the bin. I'm just genuinely praying that Maresca can succumb to his rigidness and say, you know what? Let me change the system for now. I've done everything. The players I currently have just doesn't fit the system. And do something to get us 3 points. Because at this point, I don't care how we play. I don't care if we do a Manchester United like last season and come back multiple wins until we finish the season. Just get us 3 points or get us the most point that we can get. Because some games might be too difficult and we get a draw. Just get us the points and get us top 4.
This is the thing now. This is where top managers make their money. When hardship comes, when moments come where you don't necessarily have your best options or you don't have all the tools that you need to put together your team, you start to adapt, you start to put together a plan B or a plan C. The problem is Maresca's not a top manager. So is he able to do that in record time? Because we got a game against Brighton away and then Villa away before the favourable Southamptons and Leicester's at home. I would love to see a back three with wing backs. I don't think the wingers score enough goals. I don't think Neto, Sancho have scored enough goals to play with the wingers. Maybe you go back to and I've said this before, but the Thomas Tuchel formation. I said this on the Wolves preview, which was his first ever game. He drew 1-1 when he first came in. Look at potentially playing Neto as a wing back. Look at playing Gusto as a wing back. Look at going to a back three and having more numerically, just more defenders so you can try and defend better, have that pivot better protected. And then go with the Palmer in the 10, maybe go with 2 strikers because we don't have a lone striker anymore. It doesn't exist. So now you have to have 2 to almost do the work. You look at the way Brentford are with Mbeumo and Wissa, maybe potentially look at something like that. I think Thomas Frank plays a similar formation, but I don't actually believe in my heart of heart Maresca is going to do this. I don't believe he's going to make these radical changes because he seems a bit rigid. He seems a bit stiff in the way he wants to have certain things in certain places and positions. Maybe he'll surprise us and come with an absolute, fresh template against Brighton, but I don't see it. So it does leave us in a position where we know this team needed goals. This team can't defend. I don't expect this team to get much better at defending until the end of the season. I just expect them to leak goals. Sanchez is definitely going to go back in goal as the number 1. It feels like a story that will be told until the end of the time. This team will continue to leak. This team will continue to concede and have concentration issues and individual errors. The only way to get points is to score goals. When Chelsea were getting points at the start of the season, they were one of the highest goal scorers in the league, if not the highest. It wasn't because we were superb defensively, keeping clean sheets. We had this really good, rigid, mental strength about us where we could grind out 1-0 wins. That's never been the case this season. Doesn't exist. I don't think we've got the players to do it, but I also don't think the managers, built to do it either. Even though he's Italian, which is weird, and the goalkeeper certainly isn't. Right, makeup of the defense isn't. But when you take Jackson out that team, like you guys have said, we take away the chance creation, take away the ball carrying, the hold up. We're taking away goals. Might not be directly from him, but it's from the team. The overall general play is going to be worse than it was.
Cole Palmer suffers. Cole Palmer suffers without Nicholas Jackson. A lot of Cole Palmer's goals, if you look back, has actually been created by Nicholas Jackson. There's a stat out there. I think Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer, they connect really well together. Now, in one hand, we know Nicholas Jackson's not the levels. He's a good player. And as Younes has alluded, he probably should be a level below that elite striker. But this is what we have. And he brings a lot to the, in the table. And you take away that. Who's Cole Palmer going to rely on now to setting him up? Who's going to set him up for goals?
Even for Cole Palmer
Who's
individually.
Who's he going to set up for goals? Who's scoring goals for us?
He's restricted now because now there can be more emphasis on Cole Palmer knowing that no one else is really going to provide any threat. And that's exactly what happened in the Brighton game that we lost. But I mean, this is where people begin to blame Cole Palmer. Yeah. It's like, Cole Palmer is also a young player who isn't exactly, ready to... There's no track record there. He's lit it up and he's been fantastic. Don't get me wrong. And he will be a top player without question, right? But this is where chances of stagnation comes into play. When you haven't got resources around you and players to bounce off around you, no matter what. This isn't Cole Palmer FC. This is meant to be Chelsea FC. It's a team of 11 that are on the pitch. Everyone has to play their part. You can't just rely on one man. So going to that point, where we used to just think, okay, let's just score loads of goals. That will get us over the line. You can't do that long term. You can't. And we're in that situation now. We are going to league goals. That's not been resolved. But are we going to score? God knows. Like now, God knows. So...
And on top of that, Younes, are we going to score more
This
than
is
the
what we
opposition?
believed we were told would get us top 4.
We're going to leak goals. Are we going to outscore them? Like, how many are you talking about? 3 a game? 4 a game?
Do people believe that we're gonna still get the Champions League football, or was this injury made things?
Nice. Matisse, look at the teams that are Nottingham Forest, strong. Newcastle, strong. Man City will, I know they're iffy, but they'll find a way soon enough to at least be there and thereabouts. Liverpool and Arsenal are not going away. Liverpool hopefully go out there and just win it. Arsenal will dwindle around that second, third. And then, Matisse, don't forget, Bournemouth's not some joke thing. They're not a joke. Aston Villa have strengthened.
We've weakened.
Yeah.
We've not strengthened. We've weakened. So how can we possibly sit here and go, no, Champions League, yep, I still believe. Wow, really?
Players gassing out, fixtures getting harder.
Near impossible. And as you said, now we're going to have to rely
play
on
Conference League
Parma
now, 'cause they're
and
in the squad.
Caicedo even more. Correct? Parma, we got the scare just a couple of games ago when he took that knock on his ankle. Remember? Someone clattered into his ankle and he was down for a little while.
Honestly, those two, they're the next
God
ones.
forbid.
If they all Kukurea actually as well,
something.
I'll add him into that.
He's important.
Yeah.
Or Kukurea.
He was down. Yeah.
Caicedo, I think last game as well. No? There was a scare? Bro.
There's no dates
There's
on
no
Reece
sign
James,
of Romeo Lavia.
who was just precautionary.
There's no sign of Reece
I never
James.
believed.
out.
Listen, if Reece James is not in the squad, he's injured. I don't need all of this precautionary bollocks. People are telling me, oh, we don't need our captain in the squad in a knockout
going
FA
to
Cup
watch
game.
movies? He's
We
not out
don't need
watching
him. Let's
movies?
just let him rest.
waffle.
Bollocks. With one game a week, the FA Cup weekend gets a whole weekend to itself. So I didn't even believe that because A, the FA Cup is important. So don't disrespect the FA Cup, a club that haven't won a domestic cup in 7 years. Don't you dare disrespect the FA Cup. You don't have the right. You don't have the success in recent years to do so, right? You don't have the track record at Wembley. That's the first thing. Stop acting like a feeder club. Start acting like a big club. Big clubs don't turn away silverware that easily and make excuses like, oh, we're focusing on other things. The Premier League we're focusing on. The same Premier League that the priority isn't top 4 and we're ahead of schedule. If we finish 6th, it's okay. That Premier League, okay, no problem. Focus on the Conference League. The part-timers, the ones that they literally do Burger King shift, come play pitch, go back to Burger King second shift. You want to focus on that? No. You're not going to lie. You're not going to gaslight me. Do not gaslight me. So the captain of the football club in a knockout game needed to be there, at least on the bench. Needed to be there. When he wasn't there, red flag, must be an injury. And then here we go, a couple of days later, he's out. We don't know how long for. At this point, it's water off a duck's back. If Reece James gets injured, I don't really react because it's kind of ingrained now in me. I know this feeling. Gusto, Acheampong, welcome to the opportunities. New? We forget about Acheampong. Welcome. You signed a new deal. Here you are. Opportunities. Yeah. So, but yeah, I know you guys feel lied to. I don't, because when someone keeps lying, I don't believe their lies. Not really lying to me anymore. They're lying to themselves, right? So these briefs and these reports and you're lying. I'm not doing previews anymore. Oh, sorry. Let me let the audience know. I'm not doing previews anymore, by the way. So you see Brighton, I'm not doing a preview for it. This is the preview. I'll talk about it. I think the press conference is actually live now. Ooh. So I'll get some quotes. We'll discuss it on All You Can Eat Chelsea. And I'll timestamp it. We'll give a little preview. I'm not doing a whole preview video to report or respond to lies.
Facts.
I'm not doing it. When they want to speak openly and honestly, then we can cover it. But this whole, we're happy for Felix to be in Milan. We wanted Felix, but now we don't need Felix. I'm not interested. Because it's just annoying me. I can just create something else. So I'll just do some other type of content. Why am I responding to people that are lying to themselves? You want to lie to yourselves, you leave that with you. But you're not going to lie to me. I'm not going to read this and pretend to be surprised. So, because they've been lying, constantly or trying to manipulate. Manipulate is the better word. Manipulate. I'm not interested. So, at the end of the day, the expectation and the objective doesn't change. Just because you want to manipulate the way that you want to go about things and create narratives and we were going for it, but now that this has happened, no, that's a you problem. You think of a solution. Happy days for you. So yeah, for me, I don't really see them as lying to me anymore because I don't believe them.
No,
so,
and I share that to a good extent. Because I hear what you're saying, and I agree. I think it's important to show people what's going on. So, like with what we heard today, for example, from Matt Law. I mean, do me a favor. That's PR, but that is just straight up lying. You know what I mean? Like I share your sentiment. I feel the same. This is why, like, you're not doing previews. When I'm reacting to news or whatnot, I'm not reacting like I was before any longer. I'm just calling it out for what that piece of news is, like, because that's what needs to happen now. Like, I'm not going to go, oh, we're linked with this guy and this guy, and this might happen. Oh, so if that were to, no, in the bin.
Do you know what it is? Yeah. Just to jump in again. Me and you, obviously, we have very different channels. So you are 100% spot on, right? You're going to be there every day. You're going to call this shit out regardless. I'm going to go and stand outside the bridge and take the piss and make everybody laugh. That's just me. Like, I can't be here every day to denounce and dispute everything that comes out of this club. My mental health is different. I can't do it. I will fall out of love covering this club, speaking about this club if I'm there every day, repeating or having to say this shit. I don't know how you guys do it. Credit to you, because me, I can't. If I see something that for me is untrue, I just won't speak about it. My viewers should know that. If I don't talk about a transfer like Garnacho or Tell and do a video for it, it's because it ain't fucking happening. So just take my silence as words, take it as the Younes is going to directly actually speak to you, but just also understand my silence is also words as well. I can't with these press conferences. And
this is the thing. And now it's become so obvious. Like, now it's so clear. A blind man can see the contradiction, the fabrication, the papering over whatever crack there is. That's not a crack at this point. It's a flip on break. But all of these pieces that constantly keep coming out, the whole fan base can now see through it. It's been so obvious now. Everyone can see through it. This is exactly what I mean by being lied to, because now it's not just a brief to try and maybe paint a picture. Now it's just, how are we going to get around this, guys? Let's put something out there. Let them believe something. Like, that's what it is now, and that's what it feels like. So it just sums up how the football club is run. Like, the fact we're even talking about this when we're meant to be talking about a football team is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane that we're at this point in the first place. Shocking.
I mean, Javon, what did you make of the hiring of the former rugby player that is now going to be our motivational coach, the second motivational coach in successive years to hype the players up and give them a new mentality? What did you make of that? You excited?
I feel extremely disgusted. This is not, bro. I I can't fake it. I cannot mask it. I feel disgusted. I saw the news and I'm like, brother, what is that? Because I'm saying to myself, since when does Chelsea Football Club need a hype man? When when you're in the club and the DJ has his hype man. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm honestly saying to myself, let's say you even do this. Why are you telling us this, bro? This changes absolutely nothing. This is not a player that's going to come in and affect us. This is not a sporting director. This is not someone above a sporting director that's going to kick the other two out. Why are you telling this to us? This changed absolutely nothing. Because unless that guy that played rugby, unless he's going to come in and tell Maresca or help Maresca with maybe system changes or help Maresca with player development in a short period of time to get these players to a level to get us constant wins and constant good performances, then this is I don't need to know this. This affects us in no way, shape, or form. And I honestly don't care. Couldn't give two shits or a rat's ass, as my granduncle used to say. So, there you go.
Is this guy gonna come on with 10 minutes left when Enzo's getting tired and sit in the central midfield position and hold down the fort and win aerial duels and tackles and help us defend deep if we're under pressure? Is this guy gonna get in the box because we now have no striker and the crosses are coming in and there's no presence, there's no threat? Is he going to come onto the pitch and play in this position? Is this guy, before matches, going to do a Gary Cahill, Cesar Azpilicueta, John Terry, Frank Lampard, Petr Cech, Branislav Ivanovic, Didier Drogba, Diego Costa? Is he going to do a speech before the match? Is he going to do a team talk? Let's go out there, guys. Let's get some tries.
Oh, shit. Wrong sport, guys.
Touchdown.
do you know, Matisse, you know what some people have told me? Like proper people that watch rugby. People that watch rugby. You know what they've told me? We don't even know who this guy is.
No way.
I'm not even joking.
No, we don't even claim this guy.
People that watch rugby proper commented when I reported this, right? And I was laughing about it. They commented, Miz, I've watched rugby for 45 years. I don't know who this guy is.
Question. What does a good or great rugby player have to do with retiring early to come and be a motivational coach? Is he great? He doesn't sound like a great rugby player. So how can he be that great at his own? How do you work your whole life to perform in your sport and then you leave and retire early to be a motivational PT /
Chelsea Football Club?
Maybe he's here to improve the physicality of the team. That's the only thing I can see. That's gotta be, bro.
Do you think our footballers are going to look at this rugby brother and going to say, okay, yeah, tell me what I need to know. Tell me more.
Bro,
they're really going to take this guy seriously.
This club have had motivators like Jose Mourinho and Conte and Tuchel, and we're talking about fucking this guy.
If we want straight up motivation, yeah, let's go to Cobham. Who's at Cobham? Just go to the academy building. Go to where the under 15s or like those kids. Who's in there with them at the moment? Who's in there?
Oh, JT. Yeah.
Say that again.
JT.
Oh.
JT.
Oh,
JT.
That's not enough. Apparently, we've got to go to another sport to bring in someone that's never played the game, that doesn't know football, knows rugby. If we were Chelsea Rugby Club, no problem, right?
We had Astrid Wet as a fucking motivational coach for Jackson not so long ago. This is what we're going to. Rugby players and OnlyFans.
You know how I... Sorry, one sec. Do you know how I see it? When this came out, first thing that popped into my head, appease the fans. Appease the fans. Appease the fans without actually
of course.
acknowledging what needs to happen within the team to get this value that's being spoken about. We want winning mentality. We want, leadership. How about you actually get players that possess that value, that possess those qualities? and put them into the team, and we might get somewhere. Nah, they're going to try and paint an image. We're not going to interrupt the model. We're not going to interrupt what we're doing. No, leave that there. That's priority number one. But we want to get the fans to believe that we care about leadership and winning. So let's go to a tough sport and let's pluck out someone that knows how to be a bit of a man, and let's let him retire, bring him in and be a motivational coach. This is insane. This is insane. I'm lost for words, man.
Do you know what the crazy thing is? After that loss, I knew that because pain has taught me, sufferings have taught me that there's unbelievable PR that's about to drop now. I was unable to predict that this level of PR was going to come back again. Because after the first brother that was brought in as the mentality
Where is he,
monster,
by the way?
don't even know whether he was.
Where's the mentality monster munch? Did he get sacked?
Well, I used to call him Cookie Monster, so I'm not really sure. I don't know where he is. So even me, I didn't expect that again. Like, do you understand how poorly your club would have to run to repeat the stories again? Like, they've run out of stories, so they're like, do you know what? Repeat. Run it again. Run from number one again.
Yeah,
You don't.
Yeah, what I was going to say is,
Go on.
the fact that you need to bring in persons to improve the mentality and give motivation of the team. For me, it screams of an indictment on the manager, that's just something that the manager cannot do. Because teams have passed, successful teams, guess where all of that comes from? Guess where all of that comes from? It's like it comes from the head coach. I'm not even going to play the sarcastic gimmick. It comes from the head coach. The head coach sets the standards. I remember watching clips from behind the dressing room when these documentaries come out. The way the coaches would speak would make you want to run through a brick wall, even when it's not going well. The way these coaches would get angry with her at halftime. I know this is at a different club, and at a club that I very hate much with a passion, which is Manchester United. When you look at how Alex Ferguson would treat some of these players, you talk about the hair dryer treatment. Players would not want to get on the bad side of the manager, so they went above and beyond, right? And I know Maresca's inexperienced, and I know he's a championship manager, but being a manager should come with these level of things. You should need the club to go out and get you someone. Listen, I'm losing the boys here. I need to rein them in. Let me go get outside help. That's not how it works. Because along with winning over the fans, you have to first win over the dressing room to allow the boys to go out and win over the fans. So I'm genuinely thinking this is an indictment on the manager, and the board or the sporting directors don't want to, make a change, because then they'll prove they're even more wrong. But at the same point, we're not necessarily as bad as last season where we're dwindling in 8th or 10th. So this is where they go get the solution. But I got to ask the question, is this an indictment on the manager? Is the manager failing at this level?
100%. Do you know what, Javon? That's such a good point. It's like it's a backhand slap to the manager, and the manager don't even know. The manager's not even switched enough to know that you just got a backhand slap from the club that has employed you. The club has brought in a motivational influencer because we don't believe you can motivate them. Isn't that what we're trying to say, or no?
Well, it was similar to when they were going into the dressing room. That was also undermining the manager. Do you remember?
So we're at a situation where the club is indirectly trying to tell us, yeah, Enzo Maresca can't motivate the players, so I'm bringing in someone else. Hey, this is not a good thing.
But how dare they think they can point the finger at the man that they appointed?
Of course.
How dare you think that you can scapegoat the man that you fast-tracked, the man that you took a risk on? I always said at the start of this season, I said it in my recent video, you will get all the credit if this miraculously works and we win the league or something miraculous, incredible, because you took the gamble. Your project, your manager hire, you took the risk. Everybody was skeptical, so you get the credit. But if it goes wrong and we don't hit the bare minimum objectives and the manager isn't the level that you need him to be, and you have question marks over the system and you haven't done your 72 hours a day research on what he needs and what he doesn't, and you haven't given him the tools, or there is a disagreement between, players coming in and what he needs and what he doesn't, you are going to take all the responsibility again because you are running the football club. That's what directors and owners are. They're running the football club from top to bottom. So it's not like you've appointed Inzaghi, Simeone, track records, big names. I can see your catalogue and CV out of other clubs. Don't you dare come in here and give me any less. You come in here and you do what you did and you win. Now, there's still outside factors to that. Did you give him the tools that he had at the places that he won at over here? Did you sell him short? Did you give him the striker he needed? Did you give him the goalkeeper? Top managers demand shit. Top managers need big players, big personalities, leaders they can depend on. So why wouldn't a rookie manager? The top managers, Jose Mourinho demanded Diego Costa, Cesc Fabregas, Felipe Luis, Timo Courtois. This is the quartet that I want as my spine to go and win the league after finishing third. Antonio Conte said, I want Lukaku. I want Kante. I want this. I want that. So how on earth do you think a manager fresh out the championship isn't going to need more, if not at least equal to, not let alone less? Yeah. It's like, nah, it's fine. You will do. No, it's fine. Jorgensen behind Sanchez. No, it's fine. And it's not the manager's selections. We already know he'll take whatever he's given. If Felix was still here and Nkunku was sold, I can 150% guarantee he would be saying, Nkunku needed to go. He's happier elsewhere. I wanted to keep Felix. Yep. He's the guy that puts bums on seats. He's the flamboyant ticket seller. Happy to have him. Big part of my plans. He has no original thought in the middle of his ears, in his head right now. He is speaking and reflecting whatever is put on his plate. And that is exactly what we have to expect from the term head coach. And that is exactly what we have to expect from a young manager absolutely propelling themselves upwards into a top club and feeling like, wow, I'm so lucky to be here. Because managers with weight and CV behind them, they don't feel that way. I'm a top manager, you're a top club. You behave like a top club, I'll behave like a top manager. Whoever breaks that bond leaves.
And they won't stand. They won't stand for anything that's mediocre or given to them. They won't accept. If you gave a top manager his Mark Q as your number 2, are you serious, brother? Like it'd kick off there. That's it. End of relationship. End of relationship.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like Maresca, who's come up from the level that he was at, or not just him, but anyone of the levels below, they're the ones that are more likely to just go, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. They'll comply. And more as time goes on, it seems like we're just after people that will comply. Directors included. Compliance. That's not going to take us anywhere.
Yeah. So to round off a little bit, I want to I don't really know what else we can get into for the Brighton game because we have no striker. The injury seems to be outside of that as it was. And it's really just pray and inshallah. So let's discuss the ownership a little bit. I know Younes did a video on Roman. I don't know. I don't really want to reflect on that whole situation because what's done is done. He's not getting his club back. And I just have the memories. I just have the memories to reminisce. As gut-wrenching and as sad as it is, it's done. It's over. We get fucked by governments left, right, and center every single day. So why be surprised that this is just an extra a day of fuckery? I just have to kind of just make peace with that and know that it's done. But where do we stand on people will be watching this thinking, okay, have we got some solutions? Well, we gave you some systematic, hopefully, maybe some solutions on what we could do selection-wise, maybe play 2 up front, go to a back 3, wing backs. But we're not going to get into that any deeper because the manager's probably not going to do that. Solutions with the ownership, right? At the start of the show, we was talking about the potentials of a protest. I've said in my video, I don't really believe we're there. There's a lot more that needs to happen, and everybody has their own breaking point. And I think the majority of the people's breaking point is a lot lower than where we are currently, which is 4th. So I think a lot of people are just waiting and watching. Not really waiting and watching; they're watching, but they're very clued up on. Most people are very clued up on. This is not really moving the way it should be. Is there still a difference between Todd Boehly and Eghbali for you guys? As in, I guess Todd with the vivid seats, his PR and his name has taken a big tarnish over the last week because obviously he's got a conflict of interest with being part of a company that basically extorts fans, But is he still someone that if he was to take majority ownership, because right now he's a minority in terms of ownership, if he was to take majority, would you be more excited to see how that looks in regards to him getting his own sporting director and him leading the club and him being the owner of Chelsea Football Club? Whereas maybe Eghbali is more clearly capital consortium, player trading, stockpiling, money making. Or do you not differentiate and just say, actually, to hell with everything?
For me, to hell with everything.
Maybe you go first. How do you feel?
They came as one. They leave
blow
as
everything
one.
up.
Because it's been, for me, they for whichever side of the pie that we're looking at, I've lost trust. And I don't see anything there. If we go to Todd Boehly, for example, not only with this latest thing of vivid seats and whatnot, which was already in place before they actually took over Chelsea Football Club. So that's one thing, right? But when they came in and he started playing sporting director, which again, hindsight is a beautiful thing. It's with time that you start to piece things together and you start to analyze, and sometimes that's what it takes. But when they played sporting director, he came in and he was just running the show, which currently he is still currently chairman of the club. So to try and paint that he doesn't have any say or any responsibility when it comes to any decision, if I'm not mistaken, all 3 need to sign off on matters. Whether it's Eghbali, Feliciano, and Todd Boehly, those are the guys that are running the club, and including Boehly, who's currently chairman. He's not blameless. And the first port of call that should have happened, which is logical, is when they take over a club and they're not equipped to be running things, you go and get a sporting director. And it took us how long for us to do that? In fact, it took Clearlake and Eghbali to take more of the reins to then get 2 sporting directors who are a couple of puppets, as far as I'm concerned. So the whole thing of the whole operations of... and he bounced.
3, because Christopher Vavell as well.
With everything that has happened from start to finish, honestly, I don't trust any of them to run a bath, let alone a football club or our club in the way that it's being run. I understand that Todd Boehly comes from more of a sporting background, don't get me wrong, right? But for me, and what's been demonstrated as of so far, that doesn't give me any indicator that he not just knows what he's doing on a footballing level, but even if the intentions are to get us to succeed on a footballing level, and if he's going along with everything that's the whole ownership are doing in terms of just trying to generate profit only. Everyone's got their piece of the pie, and there's even the whole thing about there being a clash and whatnot. Again, I look at that now and I think, PR? Divide and conquer is a very popular thing. It's the oldest trick in the book, and I feel like that's been a thing that's been utilized a lot with the Chelsea fan base from start to finish, and it will continue to do so, just to protect their own images. I don't trust any of them.
I agree as well. At one stage, I was thinking maybe Boehly. He seems to have, as Younes said, some sort of sporting background, and feels like he wants to put the right people in charge to run it in an adequate manner. But then I'm like, do you know what? Nah, man. Like, he doesn't know much about this sport either. He's got no idea. He's ultimately, look, It's all about the money for him as well. And the whole shenanigans that's taking place in regards to the Vivid Seats, oh, that's embarrassing. How can you now solely run Chelsea Football Club when you're doing this side quest, side hustles? Really? You don't make enough money? Now you need to make side hustles? Come on. So for me, we need owners that are going to, profitability for them is not the first thing. And the only type of owners you're going to have who are going to think in that way is individuals or families. See, these guys are organizations. They need to appease shareholders that they got to go back and give money back to. Shareholders don't care who Chelsea Football Club is. They don't give 2 cents. Shareholders simply saying to Clearlake and Todd Bowley, here's my money. You're giving me, you're promising me X amount of return. I don't care how you do it, do it. It doesn't matter if you put the money in Chelsea. It doesn't matter if you put the money on whoever. I don't care. I need my return back at the end of the year. So this is a different concept here. This is a concept where these owners are not working for themselves. They're working for others to give them a return. We need owners that are individual or as a family and doing this as their passion. Oh. And I'm not necessarily saying run it at a loss, because then you're going to get done from a PSR point of view. But run it at a point where football is first. That profit, you're not going to be drawing out money and giving it out to shareholders. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at some of the Italian clubs. Why are these Italian clubs are not wealthy, you know, they're struggling financially. But why do they foster such a beautiful community? Why do they foster such a fantastic fandom? Why are they still able to buy quality players? Because their owners are not really interested. They make money elsewhere. This is a passion. This is a community. This is a togetherness. This is about winning, losing, feelings, emotions. It's not about balance sheets and profit and loss and giving return on investments to shareholders. We need to strip away from this, and we need to get back into an owner that's going to look at this, not necessarily how Roman did, because Roman was a little bit reckless in terms of he just pumped money. He couldn't care less, right? He had 1.5 billion in debt. He said, don't worry about it.
Mad, isn't it? When you think about it.
1.5 billion. You think these lot will say, don't worry about it, to 1.5 billion? No. It's not even that they won't say it. Their shareholders will say, what do you mean don't worry about 1.5 bill? We'll get my money back, man.
But here's the deeper convo. We exist in England. We exist in the Premier League. When we tried to get Saudi owners, there was backlash. We tried to go down that route.
Did we?
You know? We have been... Well, I don't think we went down that route as deeply as we could have, but I think it was almost granted to a bit of a halt as well. I think the Premier League, and I think, you know, I think they also have like an agenda onto what they want us to look like now. The UK government also have an agenda as to what they want us to look like right now. So when we talk about these owners going, don't necessarily, and again, I'm not trying to say that, you know, don't take the gamble, but just be aware that the replacement not necessarily is going to be what we want, again, because 100%. There is a larger thing at play. And you look at all the big clubs in the Premier League, outside of City, they all speak about the same problem, whether it be, you know, Arsenal, whether it be Liverpool, whether it be Manchester United. It seems to be a thing that is deliberately let's try and, you know, even the Saudi ownership at Newcastle, they can't even spend the money because they've put in new regulations to say, actually, you're not even going to do what you think you were going to do here. And they didn't even, you know, that was even trying to get shut down. That takeover took so long. It was almost like it was unwillingly going through. They were trying to block it. So again, it ties into society and governments, and citizens and trying to find a way through this nonsense and shit. The powers that be and the bigger people at play here, this board here is monopoly, and we are not even the car, we are not even the tractor. These little pieces, they just be moving, landing on different houses and collecting and hotels and moving things around, and we just in here just like, let me out of jail, please, let me out of jail. It's like, no, we haven't rolled the dice yet. It's not your turn, bitch. Sit there and shut up. Do you know what I mean? So, again, like I said, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer about the whole protest talk and the whole ownership talk, but this is why I say, directors, is there something that can be improved on the job that you're doing? Are you maximizing the restrictions and the constraints we're under from above? Or are you doing a shit job, and can I at least get someone better than you? I'm looking at the ownership and thinking, Cronkies, they're still there. Glazers, they're still there. Is there a way where we can split this and say, right, you target one person who's the bigger problem, like Igbali, and hope that maybe Todd Bowie takes more, and then maybe we're not as bad, or we're a bit better? Because those type of conversations are I'm talking 90% more realistic than some massive overhaul. It just hasn't been done. Unless we're talking smaller clubs in the lower leagues where they are on their arse and going into administration, and their whole community and town. Remember, Chelsea is a worldwide club, which is a blessing and a curse, because it means that the fan base is very sporadic in terms of they are separated by seas and oceans, and they're all over the place. When you talk about these smaller clubs in League One, League Two, everybody's in the same town. I go next door. Hey, you going to the protest today? You better fucking be. You know what I mean? Supermarket, yo, you going to the protest today? We're in Lidl putting up flyers. You better fucking be. Morecambe, let's get down to the end of the road. Let's go. It's different. We're talking about fostering a community. Chelsea's community is very difficult to kind of put together and not police, but bring it together, because it's everywhere. Man, them are in Kent. Man, them are in Dartford. Man, them are here. So again, like I said, it's a very, very, it's a suffocating almost situation that we find ourselves in, because you're gasping for air, but you're not in control of the oxygen. Do you know what I mean? And that's just the way that's the me just being real with it. That's what it is. You're dealing with £1 billion institution. It ain't gonna go anywhere overnight, unless, like we said before we started recording, we're talking tens of thousands of people literally stampeding on that pitch. And that is not happening when we're very flippant as a fan base on results. We get 3 wins, and any planning and any details that were being formalized and finalized for some sort of overhaul, brother, don't talk to me about no fucking protest. We just beat fucking Aston Villa. Shut up. I'm not turning up. I'm going to the game, bro. I'm buying merch. I'm buying tickets. We got Southampton. We can go second. There's still people that think we can finish third and second because Arsenal. So this is what I'm talking about.
This is where I think there needs to be.
It's mad
to differentiate between fans online, fans at the ground, and fans at the ground, home and away. Because I think one thing that you mentioned, there's two sides to this topic that you're on. One is that firstly, we need to understand that the way that Chelsea are owned compared to some of the other clubs that you've mentioned are different. So, like, if Man United, the Glazers, right? The Glazers, whether they like it or not, do have to give a damn about Man United, and they're even not doing that brilliantly, right? The Cronkies at Arsenal, same situation. FSG, to a good extent, at Liverpool, same situation. With us, it's like Miz mentioned, this isn't technically Igbali, Bowley, Feliciano as individuals who are behind this football club. This is Clear Lake Capital, Eldridge, Guggenheim, I think some other one as well, that are behind, institutions that are behind Chelsea Football Club. So it's different when you put it into that perspective, and are we just a little piece of the portfolio, with shareholders and their investors that are all involved looking to just maximize their profits, putting their assets managed by these firms. That's the end goal for them. So that's where I honestly believe. Do I believe that the owners need to be replaced or they need to sell up? 100%. But the bare minimum that I think fans can do and should do is to voice their concern and to be loud about it and to let them know. Because unlike individuals or families, like was mentioned, like the Glazers or the Cronkays, and even then there was protests and whatnot, but you're targeting more of an individual that way. With this, you're knocking on the door of institutions and investors that have their money invested into those institutions, and imaging, painting the right picture, reputation, confidence, all plays a part in what those investors are investing. You give a bad image towards that, all of a sudden there's a little bit of panic. That's why I say just to be vocal in terms of how fans are genuinely feeling after 3 years of this needs to at least be vocalized. Now, when we're talking about Chelsea Football Club and the community side of things, I honestly believe, and you've been to games, Matisse, you know this well, when I look at some of the other clubs, I look at Chelsea. With Chelsea, there is at least still, I believe it's disappearing, and it's disappearing fast because of the owners that have come into the Premier League, especially the Americanization of the Premier League, and that's going at a fast rate. But the community feel that was existing at the bridge is still there, at least a little bit. And I feel like when you're talking about what the Chelsea fan base can actually do, if we're talking with his history and results, the Super League protest proved what Chelsea fans can do on the spot if they really want to. Because as much as there were other fans that were there, without a doubt, but that took place at the bridge. And there was a lot of Chelsea fans that showed up that day in outrage, right? To the point where Petr Cech himself had to come out from the flipping stadium and go downstairs and talk to the fans and go, okay, Roman, listen, we got to call this one off. Boom, done. This 100%.
Can I just interject?
No, and this is exactly where I'm coming to.
Or big accounts
Anything
on
like
X.
this isn't going to come from, let's say, us. We can only just help multiply things. But in terms of organization, that comes organically. That comes from the everyday match goer. That comes from those that go to every away game. That goes to those communities that meet up every weekend to go into the ground together and watch those games, to be vocal at the games. That's where it's going to come. And I believe it's starting, right? Slowly but surely, I believe it's starting. And there are fans that are clinging on to the fact of, okay, no, there's top four, that's still in question. With the way that we're set up and the way that you can see this heading, right? Time will tell. But in terms of any protest, or at least just be vocal, even at the grounds, right? With chants and whatnot, that's going to come from the fans that are there every week and every home and away game. So just to clarify that point, yeah, that's not going to come from online. It never has, it never will. I think that can only help aggregate things, help publicize things a little bit. That's all that can be done online. Because again, that's been tried and tested, hasn't it? With yourself and me, Matisse. We've been down that route.
Yeah, I mean, that protest for the Ricketts took place because time was of the essence. There was no time to think and to make sure it was perfect, because you either do it now or you don't do it, because literally there's a takeover bidding process being formalized. But we saw how difficult that was to get. You know, we got a great crowd. I think we've got a really good crowd considering it was short notice and, you know, it was the first one we ever did. But you know, me and Miz was talking about this earlier. Obviously, people in the comments are like, do you sort this out, make this happen? I'm like, I know full well if we were to win 3 games in a row, these comments disappear. So you're asking us to put our face, our name, our reputation out there for people that really are quite flippant and will change on a dime. You know, if a few good results come in, forget the overriding arching issue at the club. We're short term, we're results based, we're you know, taking instant gratitude and instant, you know, gratification for that. But also, when you talk about how big the fan base is, we're talking about millions of people, right? And how many views are being done here on YouTube? At max 60, 70, 80K. I don't see 100K, 200K Chelsea videos. So what are we like? What is the scope of our reach? Because I sometimes think it's vastly overestimated sometimes. Like, we're talking about a percentage of those people now have to be Chelsea fans because there are rivals in there. A percentage again have to be from the UK because, no disrespect, all international fans love, but we're not asking you to catch flights to be at protests. And there'll be tens of you that do, or maybe a few, you know, but it won't be enough, right? It's UK people that have to do this. That, and then I'm talking about the percentage of UK people that give a damn and will actually do something. Again, a lot of the people that maybe go to the games or the older crowd, they don't watch us. So we have to be realistic about who we're actually speaking to as well. And that's where I agree with your point, Younes. It's not going to come from us. Like, a lot of people will underestimate us and say, right, oh, YouTubers, content creators, you don't mean shit. No one cares what you think. Well, that's not true. People do listen. But then let's not overestimate it and say you guys can change everything, because we can't. I'm going to tell you that now. That is going to come from the people that are there week in, week out and are there every game. If they feel it,
yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
If they don't, fucked. It's simple, you know. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's quite simple. That Super League protest,
this is true.
We didn't even have time to even type a title or make a thumbnail before they were outside fucking shit up. Do you know what I mean? And credit to them. It was incredible. Speed of light, they were out there because it hit them in their hearts. It resonated in their living rooms. They didn't need to even text the group chats. They went straight there. That's the level of animosity and anger we're talking about. You would need to have any sort of make any sort of difference. That is what it needs to be. It needs to be instant, you know? And I think we're a very long way away from that. And that is why every other big club, they have been pissed about for a decade plus. Arsenal, Manchester United, no major trophies, and their fan base is still turning up. They're still putting on the shirts because the overriding love and emotional connection to the club outweighs any bollocks and crap that you'll take from the institutions and the higher-ups. And that goes for the same people that still live in England. And that goes for the same people that get pissed on by governments and struggle to find housing or all these other society issues, right? But you're still there. As much as we piss on you, shit on you, you're still living here, right? Because you like it here, don't you? Yeah, because you have emotional connection. You got family here. You go to games with your friends. You love the club. You want to see the players. You got favorite. This is what it's so deep rooted in the human psyche. It's beyond belief what we're talking about. And this is why for me, as much as I like to applaud the thought and I like to, just is beyond. It is beyond what we're discussing. It is another level that is. This would have to be a very special fan base to stand out from all of the others that have the same shit going on, just in different ways.
Yeah,
but actually do something about it, and it works.
Before I speak, let me start by saying I fully agree with everything you and Younes say, and I fully.
I'll be right back. By the way, guys, 5 minutes. Sorry.
No problem. And I fully back that. Right. My question then is to ask, would it be easier to switch the target then? If it's nigh on impossible to get the board out and the owners out, shouldn't we create a campaign and switch the rhetoric to get the sporting directors out? Because
this is why I talk about them, bro, because that people talk about obviously cutting off the head of the snake or killing. I understand the logic because obviously they're the ones that are culpable. They set everything below them. But for me, I'm also thinking what is quicker to get done as well, and
exactly.
what can we start to eliminate so we can start to clear the path so we can see, you know, because if you're going through a jungle, you need to start clearing them trees, bro. And I'm not, but the manager that's not even a branch. That's irrelevant. I'm talking about the directors, bro. That's the first branch I'm trying to cut, bro, because they're the ones that are mismanaging the money. For, you know, in terms of obviously the ownership have maybe said you need to buy young talent or you need to.
So
it was Lawrence Stewart that bought fucking Desassi, bro.
Do
you know what I mean? Like
I asked this because Miz and I had a very spirited discussion. And we kind of came to the conclusion that while the owners did say go young and they're trying to make a profit. I really doubt that each and every one of these transfers, they said, oh, I want this guy specifically. We came to the consensus that they gave a general objective, and you should complete that objective. And I genuinely believe, while I still want the owners out, let me reiterate that, I genuinely think there's sporting directors that are competent, that are at a greater level, that are at better clubs, that could have done a better job. So at this point, if everything is saying reigns true, we need to have a full campaign and change the rhetoric to say, you know what, let's get these sporting directors out, because if we put the board under pressure to do that, it's more of a likely that they're going to, you know what, succumb to the pressure to just fire these two guys versus selling the club. Exactly.
And maybe change the model as well and be like, actually, okay, we've our plan isn't working. We've had to sack the directors, which is our shield.
Exactly.
The next directors we hire, we might
because
have to actually tell them,
if it goes wrong with the new hiring of the directors,
different this time. I don't know.
Bypass the manager at this point because we've been through enough, and we bypass another set of sporting directors. So if they get the next appointment wrong for the sporting directors, the flashlight, the shining light, the spotlight will be solely on the owners. It already is, but if we do this, there will be change. There would be uptake in terms of squad building and development and all of that, because the new directors would have different ideas and would have seen the track record from these past directors, so they would kind of be under pressure to not mess up as bad. And no, it's all on the owners.
Just to add as well, we've got to wrap up soon. I just realized I'm going to be late otherwise, but there's still sections that think it's the manager, like you said, Miz, before recording. And then there's sections that believe it's directors. And then there's section that's owners. And the more you go up, the less, it becomes, because, people are just fixated on whatever limit they want to go to. So we've already done the manager. We sacked one in Poch and we went to Maresca. So let's just eliminate that. For me, people that are still banging on about Maresca, I think you're missing the point. But there's the directors. This is the next one that they've never eliminated. This is the next one that can sway more people and bring more of a bigger kind of percentage of people to now talk about what you're trying to talk about, which is the very top. But that is a limit for a lot of people. That's a goalpost that you haven't cleared. Not once. They came in, they smacked around with all the money, and they're still here. They're still here somehow. But again, unless we finish outside the Champions League places, I don't see the uproar, and I don't see the anger being there. And even if we don't finish Champions League, I still have doubts in terms of from a wider perspective. But in terms of Champions League, if they make it, they're going to live to see another day, whether we like it or not. I personally don't like the job they're doing at all. I wanted them sacked last season with Poch. I was saying if Poch is leaving, they need to go as well. But again, it's not about me. It's about the collective. I am going to wrap up purely because I have to go, otherwise we're going to be late. I feel like this is almost like a two-parter, but hey, we will be back. Do you know what I mean? We will be back. This is the club, Miz. There's a lot to discuss. What can you do?
Back, bro.
Final thoughts, Miz, before we wrap, bro. Before we wrap up.
Look, final thoughts. Please win against Brighton, or else we will be seriously in deep trouble. Getting 2 back-to-backs against Brighton, back-to-back losses against Brighton is not going to go down well. So please win so that some of this heat can sort of disappear momentarily at least. So, yeah,
there you are. Brothers, go subscribe to Javon. Miz was on his channel recently. They did a lovely collab. So link will be in the description. Link for Miz as well, the other side of the coin. Make sure you go subscribe. Younes Talks Football. We are rapping before he goes, so make sure you go subscribe. And yeah, just need to win, because financially, this club needs Champions League football badly. I don't want to see what we look like without it. So yeah, smash up the lights, guys. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Big up your damn selves in a bit, people. Peace.